Did you know that a famous Hollywood tough guy and Medal of Honor winner almost got his butt kicked by another actor in the Nevada desert? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Review Lens. Today we're going to dive into the life and career of Lee Marvin, a Hollywood icon. He was so much more than just another on-screen tough guy. Lee Marvin was born on February 19th, 1924, in New York City. His family was distantly related to the Confederate General Robert E. Lee. I kid you not. He was Marvin's first cousin 4 times removed. For this reason, they named the younger son Lee. His older brother went by Robert. Lee Marvin enjoyed a comfortable childhood until he started going to school, and that's when the trouble started. Marvin was not a good student. He often didn't show up for class, and when he did, what do you think happened? He got into fistfights. And that attitude raised a few red flags. So he soon earned a double diagnosis of dyslexia and ADHD. But despite this, he still showed that he had a creative side when he picked up the violin. Now, the boys at school thought the violin was for sissies. Little did they know. Private Lamont Waltman Lee Marvin enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps on August 12, 1942. He served in the 4th Marine Division as a scout sniper in the Pacific Theater during World War II. While serving as a member of I Company, 3rd Battalion, 24th Marines, 4th Marine Division, Marvin participated in 21 amphibious assaults on Japanese-held islands. Yes, you heard that right, 21. On June 18, 1944, he was wounded in action while taking part in the assault on Saipan, in the course of which most of his company became casualties. He was hit by machine gun fire, which severed his sciatic nerve and missed his spine by about an inch. And then he was hit again in the foot by a sniper. So after a year of medical treatment in naval hospitals, Marvin was given a medical discharge with the rank of private first class. Now, true to style, he had previously held the rank of corporal, but he'd been demoted for troublemaking. And of course, the violin is for sissies. After the war, while he was working as a plumber's assistant in upstate New York, Marvin was asked to replace an actor who got sick during rehearsals. Golden opportunity. He caught the acting bug and got a job with the production company for about $7 a week. But my favorite Lee Marvin movie is The Professionals, shot in 1962. The Professionals is a story set on the Mexican-American border in the year 1917. It's about 4 tough guys who were hired by an arrogant, wealthy rancher named J.W. Grant, played by the great Ralph Bellamy. They were hired to retrieve his wife, played by Claudia Cardinale, named Maria. And she was the hostage of a Mexican revolutionary named Jesus Raza, played by the equally great Jack Palance. Henry Rico Farden, played by Martin, is a weapons specialist. Bill Dulworth, played by Burt Lancaster, is an explosives expert. The horse wrangler is played by Robert Ryan, and Woody Strode plays the Apache scout who's skilled with a bow and arrow. And he's obviously an expert tracker. The movie was adapted for the screen by writer-director Richard Brooks. Brooks started out as a screenwriter, co-writing Key Largo with John Huston. Now, Brooks was one of these old-fashioned screaming, throwing stuff around the set directors who a lot of times drove his cast and crew to exhaustion. And you have to throw in Nevada's blistering desert being the main location. So it was a tough shoot, to say the least. And by the way, Debbie Reynolds said working with Richard Brooks was an experience. She was young back in 1956, making a movie called The Catered Affair that he was directing. Brooks got mad at her for some reason and hit her in the face. Yes, you heard me right. and he had to be pulled away from further assaulting her by the assistant director. Wouldn't you like to see him try to do that with Lee Marvin? There was also tension between the stars of The Professionals, particularly Marvin and Lancaster, who did not get along well at all off screen. While working on The Professionals, it seemed that Marvin was a little more unprofessional, and Lancaster was getting near the end of his rope. Not helping matters was the fact that Lee Marvin had developed one heck of a drinking habit by then. Burt was a very disciplined professional actor, physically a very powerful man who worked out every morning. And Lee Marvin's frequent drunkenness finally made him snap. People on the crew said one day Lancaster actually picked Lee Marvin up, held him over the edge of a cliff, and told him, "If you show up drunk on this set one more time, I swear to God I'll throw you off this mountain." But in spite of all these problems, a very entertaining and well-made film emerged from the collaboration of these two temperamental personalities. Lee Marvin's influence is all over the movies you're watching today. You know those complex characters you love, the ones that aren't all bad or all good, but somewhere in between? I'm thinking about John Wick, for instance. Marvin helped pave the way for those characters. Plus, and I can't stress this enough, the man was just cool. Like effortlessly, impossibly cool. And that voice that sounded like he gargled with gravel every morning, that steely gaze that can make you feel like you were in trouble, that's the kind of screen presence you can't teach. So here's your homework, film buffs. Next time you're scrolling through your streaming service and feeling a bit adventurous, give Lee Marvin a shot. Maybe start with Point Blank if you're in the mood for some film noir-inspired thrills, or dive into The Dirty Dozen for a very well-shot flick. Or you could try Monty Walsh and see the softer side of Lee Marvin. Whatever you choose, whichever one you decide to watch, I can tell you this for a promise. You're in for a treat. Lee Marvin wasn't just an actor. He was a force of nature. He showed us that tough guys can have depth, that heroes can be complicated, and that sometimes the most interesting characters are the ones who blur the lines between good and bad. Lee Marvin died of a heart attack on August 29, 1987. He was laid to rest on September 2nd, 1987 at Arlington National Cemetery in Section 7A. He's right below the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Lee Marvin's legacy, well, it's still going strong. He was a true original in an industry that often plays it safe. He zigged when everyone else zagged. And let's be real, they really don't make them like Lee Marvin anymore. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and thanks for tuning in to Review Lens with us. We'll see you on the next one. And leave us a balcony seat.